You finally sit down on the couch to relax, and within 5 minutes, your brain is already running a list of everything you should be doing instead. The laundry gets folded in your head. The weight of the dishes settles on your chest. You do not rest. You just delay working while feeling guilty for it. This is not laziness. This is a wound. And it started long before you had a to-do list. Somewhere in your childhood, love and approval were not just given. They were earned. Your nervous system learned to associate stillness with danger because stillness meant you were not producing, and not producing meant you were not safe. The psychologist Alice Miller called this the performance of the self, the idea that some children learn they are only acceptable when they are useful. When the home was unpredictable, staying busy was how you stayed invisible, or valuable, or out of trouble. That pattern hardwired itself into your baseline. It did not disappear when you grew up. What it looks like now is specific, and you will recognize it immediately. You cannot watch something without also folding clothes, checking your phone, or doing something with your hands. Pure rest, no output, no task, no productivity, feels physically wrong. Not boring. Wrong. Your brain interprets doing nothing as a kind of moral failure, a gap that needs to be filled immediately. This is not a personality type. Psychologists describe this as conditioned hyperactivity, a nervous system that was trained to treat movement as safety. The cost is quiet, but total. You are never actually off. You have not truly rested in years. You just switch between tasks and feel vaguely guilty about all of them. And this is only where it starts. At the end of a day where you helped someone, solved a problem, finished something real, you still ask yourself what you actually did today. The answer is never enough. You do not measure your days by how you felt or who you were. You measure them by output. This is what psychologists call contingent self-worth. Your value is not stable, it is conditional, recalculated every day based on performance. It was built in a home where love arrived after achievement, not before it. The cost is that no amount of doing ever settles it. You finish the list and immediately write a new one. The finish line moves with you. You take a day off and spend most of it explaining it to yourself. You were tired. You needed it. You worked hard last week. A case gets built for your own rest, like you are defending it in court. The apology runs constantly, not always out loud, but inside, to no one. This behavior has a name: internalized conditional approval. You absorbed the standards of someone who required justification for stillness, and now you enforce those standards on yourself without them in the room. What it costs you is the rest itself. You cannot receive it because you are too busy earning the right to have it. Everything you have heard so far is not a list of your failures. It is a map of how you survived. A child who kept moving, kept producing, kept justifying their existence. That child was adapting to something real. You built the most efficient machine you could out of what you were given. The problem is not the machine. The problem is that you are still running it in a house that is no longer on fire. The next sign is the one most people do not want to say out loud. You get a free afternoon, and instead of relief, you feel dread. Not anxiety about something specific, just a low, ambient wrongness, like you are forgetting something, missing something, falling behind something. Rest is supposed to be the reward. For you, it is the threat. This is nervous system dysregulation. Your body was conditioned to read stillness as the calm before something bad. Relaxation never got paired with safety. It got paired with the moment before chaos arrived. Now, when nothing is wrong, your body does not believe it. You stay on alert. You wait for the thing that is coming. That vigilance costs more than any amount of work ever does. Someone mentions they finished a project, read 3 books this month, woke up early every day. A small collapse happens inside you immediately. Not admiration. Threat. Already measuring. Already behind. Already less. This is not ambition. It is survival comparison, a pattern built in environments where your worth was always relative to someone else's output. There was a hierarchy of value, and you were never safely at the top of it. Every conversation that turns to accomplishment costs you. There is no way to celebrate someone else's progress without quietly auditing your own. You are always both in the room and on trial. If you stopped, really stopped, you believe, somewhere underneath everything, that things would break, relationships would drift, opportunities would vanish. People would see what you actually are when you are not performing. So you do not stop. You slow down and call it rest. You take a break and stay reachable. You go on holiday and keep one eye open. This is not drive. This is terror dressed as discipline. The belief underneath it is ancient, that your presence in people's lives depends entirely on your usefulness to them. You are not afraid of stopping. You are afraid of what stops with you. The first thing to understand is that your productivity is not your personality. It is your armor. You are not a driven person by nature. You are a person who learned that stillness was dangerous. The shift is not doing less. It is noticing what you feel when you try. The second thing, rest does not have to be earned. That is the lie the whole system runs on. One small act, sitting without doing, for 5 minutes, without justifying it, is not laziness. It is direct confrontation with the original wound. The third thing is the hardest, and it is also the most important. Your value was never supposed to be conditional, not on output, not on usefulness, not on what you accomplish before you allow yourself to exist. The shift is not a grand decision. It is the moment you catch yourself building the case for rest and choose, just once, not to finish the argument. You have been running a calculation since childhood. Every day, you check whether you have done enough to deserve to be here. That calculation was not yours to begin with. Someone handed it to you before you were old enough to refuse it. You carried it because you had no choice. You kept carrying it because you forgot it was ever something you could put down. You are not lazy when you rest. You are not falling behind when you stop. You are not less when you are still. What would change? Not tomorrow, not after some long process. If you finally stopped believing that your worth expires the moment you stop producing. If you know someone who cannot sit still without guilt, send them this. They probably will not ask for it, but they need it.